What's up, guys? We are not heading to the woods today. We're actually gonna head and do some taxidermy. So, something different. And yeah, I'm gonna try to do a time-lapse video of a deer being mounted. So, for those of you that follow us, be sure to invite your friends to watch. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. It helps a lot. You with me? Because the cold kills these batteries really easy.
Yeah, I wondered about that. I'm surprised. Game cameras, you know, do as well as they do in the cold.
Well, these batteries are...
Get my call pointed. If you look at it, see how the shape of that ear? It's a lot thinner up at the peaks.
Right.
And you don't want your ear liners tight. You need some looseness.
Right, a little play so you can work it.
Yeah, and so that you can glue it. If they're too tight, they'll drum on you, what they call.
Or they'll...
The glue won't hold it.
And
they'll pop loose, and then you got a thick ear. They recommend always have a little looseness in your ears. Oh, it's actually from Mexico, where it's from. But as long as it's acrylic latex, it'll work. And Menards has got that for $1.74.
you just work that caulk to the ear.
Yeah,
just to cover all of it.
Right.
So it can't slip or...
You can feel it. I mean, move that with your, feel the caulk in there.
Yeah.
And then once you put your ear liner in there, then I'll staple it also.
Right, until it dries.
Yeah, I pull the staples. That's the first thing I do when I get one ready to paint.
Pull the staples and then paint them.
Out of all the ears and like down the back of the neck. And, you know, there's extra caulk in there. Well, you just force it down the butt. You know, right. That's the thing with taxidermy. When you're mounting a hide, it's wet.
Right.
Gotta be for you to be able to handle it. Even a tan, if you send it off to a tannery and it comes back dry, you have to soak it before you can mount it.
Right. Yeah, I'm fast at that.
That's the reason I like the dry preserve method. You got more stretch.
Right.
You can mount a deer hide on a larger cape with the dry preserve, or on a larger mannequin, because it'll stretch more.
Right. You got sanding you gotta do on the molds too.
I do.
Certain rough spots. Yeah.
Because they have a mold release.
And it's like a smooth texture, and it don't want it to seep to it. I guess
They spray the inside of the mold before they pour the foam in it, and that's so it'll release from the mold.
Donnie, you might be on YouTube tonight.
Whatever.
You ever been on YouTube?
I don't know. Not that I'm aware of, but
that's the new things that everyone's doing nowadays. Social media and... Brittany says I have enough hobbies. I go, I hunt and fish, and I'm about to have another hobby.
The only thing probably you won't like about this
during hunting season.
It'll interfere with your hunting. If you get into it as deep as I have.
That's what I'd like to do. I mean,
because whenever, of course, the artistic part of it's good too. I mean, I always liked art and stuff like that. But, you got to be conscientious about doing the best job fleshing that you can.
right, because
Because
all the little things that matter in the end.
Right, and it's something that people can't really see, but if you don't do it properly, you're working on the whole up,
Right. That's that one you did for me 6 years ago. Still looks like it did from day one.
Well, I've got animals of my own that are close to 40 years old. My first elk's 40 years old in there.
Yeah. Also the tanning process.
And I did that bull with jockey. Now, the last several bulls I've done for myself, it's mainly because I just can't hack it.
Right.
Doing an elk, I use liquid tan because all I got to do is flesh it the first day, and I don't have to. I mean, I used to stay up half the night sometimes getting something mounted, Once I get this broke over the
skull cap.
Skull cap, then it'll go on.
Slide on a little better.
But if you split it farther, it goes on easier. But then that's how much
more staples and sewing. It's almost like muscle memory once you do it so long.
It's all bunched up down here now.
Right.
I really think the slower they dry, the better.
Right, it's not.
It's less issues with your mounts. Like the slower they dry. Like I knew a guy that was doing it in a heated room, and I helped him get started. And like for the first 3 or 4 days after I mount one, I can move things.
Right.
I can adjust on the eyes a little, and I do every day. I'll look at them and tweak them a little.
Well, is there a certain way that you like set the skull plates to the mounts, or?
That goes back to the measurements I take when I skin a head. Like, if you look on that, it'll show the tips of the antlers.
You know, I never thought floor patch.
Yeah.
Well, it never works.
Well, I've tried everything.
And this works the best.
This works the best for me. Because it dries good and fast.
Right.
Whenever I start sewing on it, I'm not going to mess it up because it's already dry.
Yeah, I've been meaning to come over sooner, but between working at my dad's and working where I work and...
Yeah. Where's he building his house at?
Rocky Ridge. There's a lot of work that goes into these.
Yeah, it's people that don't know don't have any idea,
Right, they don't know the...
Well, when I first started, I said it was a long day for me to do a deer. I said, then it got to where
Just
I got to doing so many.
doing the same thing over and
Like
over.
on Saturdays, I'd mount 2. When I was still working,
Mhm.
I'd mount 2 deer every Saturday. And somebody asked me, I said, you still doing 2 deer in a day? I said, no, not anymore. I said, one's enough.
Yeah, mine look a lot different without the hide over them.
Right. And you can actually shape that clay some, you know, after you put the hide around it.
Right, and then push it up with your scalpel or
Right.
whatever. Yeah.
Modeling tool. Just get
Just
it
help form the hide.
basically in the position you want it, and then do your fine tweaking once the hide's on it.
Right. Yeah, it's gonna be really bad after watching all this stuff and. Oh.
Take them to the check station.
Mm-hmm.
So we loaded them up, and we had to take them into Steelville or Sullivan, I don't remember which. But anyway, that land that we were hunting joined Merrimack Park.
Okay.
And so I told him, I said, on the way in, to take our bucks to check them, I noticed I could smell, you know, I could tell.
This would be a job for your wife.
Yeah.
Sewing?
Uh-huh. She don't seem to want to do it, though.
Well, my dad, when we were little, he used to give us our stitches and everything. There's a certain type of yarn or string you use for that?
Yeah,
or?
it's a waxed thread, you know.
Mm.
I had a friend that worked at Trimfoot
Yeah.
Shoe Company. And I tried a lot of different threads, and I mean, of course, you can buy it from the supply catalog too. I've got some of theirs, but I liked a little bit heavier thread for capes.
Mm-hmm.
And
Something that holds a little better.
Capes. And anyway, she was a good friend, and she was working at Trimfoot whenever they quit making shoes there. You know, all they do now, they're just kind of like a distributor.
Right.
And they had those little spools of thread like that are bobbin spools that go with the sewing machines. They sewed the soles on the boots and stuff with.
Right.
And a buddy of mine had been working over there in the shipping department, and he brought me a couple bobbins. He said, try this and see if that works for your deer heads. I did, and I said, man, that's good stuff. I said, strong, you can't break it. I said, it's waxed, it holds
Holds
good.
tight, don't slip.
And I said, yeah, I could use that. He said, I'll bring you some of it. Well, wasn't too much longer after that, they quit making shoes over there. And this girl that I knew, we lived by him over here when I was in school, you know. Real good girl.
Yeah.
She ended up getting cancer, died young, but she knew that I was using that thread because she knew my buddies that worked over there were bringing me some of it, you know. And she said, Gary said you like that bobbin thread for sewing up your deer heads. I said, yeah, I do. I said, well, it worked real good. She said, well, I'm in charge of getting rid of all of it.
Yeah, that's how you get it in there. And
Put
is
them
there
in too far until I...
epoxy it or whatever?
Yeah.
Are they hard to pull out once you get them in there? No.
Nope. It's just foam, you know.
Mm-hmm.
keep them from flopping around all.
Right. Then you gotta tuck all that membrane around his eyes, and
Well, I leave that inner eyelid to tuck into.
so you got
clay.
some skin to work with,
Yeah.
and you can push it into that putty.
Clay.
Stuff must hold pretty good.
Yeah, it does.
Then you paint over it, and
Yeah, I put epoxy around the glass, between the glass and the eyelid itself.
looks like a zombie deer without his eyes.
Yeah. Yeah. But deer would be right up there. I mean,
Set in the eyes, I guess.
tucking it. Sometimes I'll trim a little of that inner eyelid off if I think I've got too much. Those are about right.
I think that phone call's for you.
She'll get it. If it is, she'll let me know. Yeah.
The only thing I don't like about these, they don't zoom.
Oh, they don't.
It's crazy how that stuff forms to that clay like that when you push in on that membrane.
I like to crease that tear duct down in the slot good too.
Yeah, it looks a lot better. I think some of the best things that like to tell somebody's work from somebody else's is the work on the nose and around the mouth, ears, and around the eyes.
Right.
Everything else is pretty much pulling over a form.
Right. Yeah.
It's just all the detail work that goes into it.
You need to kind of study eyes, you know,
Right.
and try to make your eyes. My rangefinder eating batteries. It takes those CR1, I think, what it is. Anyway, they're pretty expensive. They come two in a package, but they're like 10 or 11 bucks. But I mean, I put one in my rangefinder, and next time I go to use it, it'd be dead.
Right.
So it was draining it somehow. And I finally figured out, and I'd had the rangefinder long enough, I knew they was going to replace it. I thought, well, it's got its own little case that goes on your belt, you know.
Right.
So what I started doing, as soon as I would use it, first time I mounted one, I had it tied in a chair. One of the first things I mounted was an elk, and I wrestled that thing around. I got it done, but I thought after that, I said, I ain't mounting another animal till I get me a couple stands made. And then a lot of these stands I've got now, guys would think they wanted to do it, and they'd get into it, and they'd build a stand, and then whenever they decided they didn't want to do it, they'd come with their stand. You want this stand? So I acquired 3 or 4 that way, you know, guys just bring them and end up giving them to me. One reason I got more in here than I should have probably. But it's pretty handy to screw a mannequin on one and be able to work on it. try to knock the ticks off while
Right.
I'm feeling of them and stuff.
I'm sure there's a lot of that.
Yeah, I cut quite a bit off when I'm fleshing it, and then but I always leave plenty, and then when I'm tucking it, I'll trim it up a little. But you gotta tuck it in, and the bottom lip and the top lip both have to go in the same slot. So.
Mm-hmm.
Open mouth, you gotta flesh a lot more lip because you need some lip, to tuck, or more. You
Right.
don't actually tuck it, you glue it to the mannequin.
See, I was in there pretty good.
Mm-hmm. When I pin it. And any of the pins then that show, I pull, but
The ones that don't, you just leave.
yeah, I seal that up with epoxy.
Right.
Whenever I
Before
do
you
the finish work on it, just leave the pins in that don't show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, another tick crawling under his eye.
Staple down that incision back there, but after that, then I'll just let it sit for a few hours before I generally don't do all the pinning until it sets a while.
Mm-hmm.
I'll let things dry out a little. I like to do the nose before it gets too dry.
Right, just so you can form it a little better.
Mm-hmm.
clay's still good and fresh.
It's crazy how that stuff sits like after you.
Yeah, once it dries, it'll stay however you put it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have to. I keep saying I'm going to take that light out. It's got a bad ballast. Whenever it gets hot,
Yeah,
it'll kick off. I'll just get rid of it. I don't really need it. I mean, I've got all these LED lights now. I can turn them off and on by the chain.
right.
I mean, there's no point in like, well, a bullet hole ain't a big deal, but I said, you need to learn to shoot your deer in the body. And there again, he really likes to brag about what a good shot he is. And I said, well, if you're a good shot, shoot him in the right place. Don't shoot him in the...
Gonna do it for this one. Hope you guys enjoy the content and look forward to making some more. So if you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe. There's more coming. Just trying to do anything I can to post videos and stuff that you guys want to see. So if you got any questions or ideas, all ears for listening. Something you guys want to see, review on stands, camouflage, whatever, so let me know. More shed hunting videos in the near future, I promise. But for now, we'll see you guys on the next one.